I just got a new job back in October, working tech support on the graveyard shift. I work from 1 a.m. through 12 p.m. Friday through Mondays. Needless to say, adjusting to my sleep schedule has been quite the task, but I have managed. On the days that I don't work, I still follow my work schedule, waking up at midnight and staying up till at least 2 p.m. before falling asleep, as to keep my sleep schedule in line with my work schedule. I bought blackout curtains to help with this, as trying to sleep with the sun shining in is not easy for me. I usually require complete darkness. I live alone, and I started noticing weird things happening around my apartment when I would get home from work, or after waking up on my days off. Just little things at first. Lights being on, that I swear I turned off. Doors being left open or closed. Just so everyone can get an understanding about my apartment. I live on the second floor, and my building is right behind the leasing office. The entrance to my apartment requires you to enter the building first. Then there is a hallway with 2 apartments on either side. Then you can enter the apartment. Each apartment has 2 deadbolts. One that you can unlock from the outside, and another that requires you unlock it from the inside. There is also a balcony, which faces east, complete with a large sliding glass door and a screen. I use it quite frequently, as I had potted plants out there, but have brought them inside due to the cold weather. My apartment is the closest one to the camera. I intentionally left out the number, for obvious reasons. I also have 2 cats, Luna and Eclipse, who, until recently, lived with me. I am moving soon and can't afford the pet deposit, so my parents offered to let them stay at their place for the time being. Eclipse is Luna's daughter, and only 6 months old, so she follows her mom around all the time. I'd usually find them cuddled up together on my chair or bed, and recently, they'd trapped themselves in the bathroom. Now that they're not here, it has gotten harder to pass off these weird occurrences as my cats. Doors are still being left open and closed, and food has been disappearing from my fridge. At first I passed this off as me just being my usual self, and just not remembering that I ate something when I was half asleep or bored. Recently, my boss gave me permission to work from home, as this shift is brand new, and the company is moving to 24/7 support, and the building owner refuses to heat my floor for my shift for only 2 people. So I've been doing that for the past couple weeks, and last week, I noticed a metal rod that acts as a secondary lock on the balcony door wasn't engaged, so I put it back. I didn't think much of it at the time, as my computer faces my balcony door. I like to people watch and watch the sunrise, and I sometimes fidget with it with my feet while playing video games. On the 11th of December, my credit card information was stolen and my account was charged $3,000 plus. I was in my office that day, as a favor to my coworker, who was really creeped out about being in the office alone in the middle of the night. The charge was made at 11:40 a.m., just a few moments before I had gotten off work, and I had my card on me still. This is relevant, I promise. I was restless and didn't sleep well. I woke up at midnight per usual on Monday morning and get my setup ready to take calls. Now, almost no one calls in on the weekends, so I'm usually screwing around on Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, and Netflix. Around 3 a.m. I was catching up on the 100 when someone unlocked my door. I don't mean picked the lock, I mean used a key. Thank God the secondary deadbolt was engaged, but the person jiggled the door to try to get it to open. I ran and grabbed my gun, and then looked out the peephole, but saw nothing. I opened the door with the intent to shoot someone, but the person was already gone. Before you ask, yes, I called the cops. No, they didn't find anything. There are no cameras in the hallways of the building, or outside them for that matter, and they told me that there wasn't enough evidence for them to do anything about it, and they left. I didn't sleep at all that night, and decided to stay home on my day off and try to catch the person, if they tried to come back. I also asked the leasing office if they handed out any extra keys to my apartment, and they said no, and informed them that I changed the locks on my door. You remember the picture from before, showing my apartment door? Well, the white door, just on the other side of the fire extinguisher, is my storage closet, opened with the same key from the same deadbolt. I keep my Christmas tree/decorations in there, and I decided it was time to set them up. As I'm pulling out the tree this evening, it's only a 5-foot tall fake tree, with all the lights attached to it already. I notice a bag back behind it. A small black duffel bag. In it, I found a change of clothes, sunglasses, shoes, toiletries, and a notebook. What was in the notebook horrified me. There were notes about me, what hours and days I worked, notes about my cats, and updated notes that they were no longer there, and the date, and my credit card number. As I went further and further back in the notes, I found 2 words circled multiple times. Balcony door, which I assume is how the person entered my apartment for the first time. This creep had been living in my apartment while I had been at work for the past month, and I didn't even know it. The worst part is that I was in my apartment at the same time as this guy, at some point, and didn't even know it. That's the only way he could have gotten my credit card number and my house key to make a copy somewhere. I've called the police, and they're on their way. I'm writing this as I'm waiting for them to show up. It's the only thing that's keeping me sane right now. Plus, I think it will help me organize my thoughts so I can best explain to the officers what has happened. Here's a quick update. So I guess I should have noted, I used to have a roommate. He joined the Navy a few months back. The cops think the bag is his, and say that he was the one that tried to get in. The only problem with that is he's in Florida, going through basic training. So unless he lied about that in an attempt to not pay rent anymore, I doubt that's the case. They said they'll look into it, and add it to my already open investigation on my credit card case. And another quick update. Yes, I did take pictures of the bag and the contents inside. I took the photos after making the post initially, while waiting for the cops to show up, just for my own records, since I'm paranoid. I blacked out my apartment number and the CC number for obvious reasons. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. If you would like a chance to have your story featured in an upcoming video, make sure you email it to urmaker6260@gmail.com. I really appreciate you all watching, and I hope you're having a great weekend, and I'll catch you in the next video. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true. So here's a little bonus story, and this one's actually my own personal story. I don't even have this written down, I'm just going to go off the top of my head, so hopefully it makes sense. So about when I was like 9 or 10 or something like that, I was in Willits, California visiting my grandmother, and we also had our dog up there. It was a blue heeler mix, and its name was Sage, and she was a bitch. She hated everyone who was not even in our family, like she would attack them. But this dog was a tank. Like, she got ran over, and at different times she got shot with a shotgun by our neighbor. Had holes in her nose, stomach, like it was brutal. And we just went Christmas shopping and came home to that. Somehow she lived through it all. But right in between getting hit with the car and getting shot with a shotgun, we were in Willits, California. And she ran away from my grandmother's house. So I was kind of tasked with finding her. Around the time I was looking, it was probably 8 p.m. or so, something like that. It had just gotten dark. And I figured I'd head up the road towards the church, which was actually up a hill. It was all a residential street, so there's houses, both sides, street lights, everything. So I get all the way up to the church, and I'm sitting there calling out for the dog, Sage, Sage. And this guy comes out of a house, like across from the church. He comes up and he does the normal, hey, what are you looking for? Blah, blah, blah. So I tell him. I mean, it's really hard to explain, but I really had this weird vibe from the dude. Like, you hear it all the time, but like, there was something weird about this dude. He was doing the side shuffle towards me almost every step type of thing. So I explained to him, I'm looking for my dog. She ran away. We're just right down there. And like, dude just lunges at me out of nowhere and tries to grab me. Like, it was insane. I just took off running. I went straight back down to my grandma's and easily outran the dude because I was quick as hell. Probably not now because I don't run anymore, but I used to be pretty damn fast. The guy did try to chase me a little bit, but gave up pretty quick and went back. And I'm still not sure the exact house. And I was also an idiot because I didn't tell my parents. Not until later when we were already gone driving back to the city we lived in. We also did find Sage. She came back and she was just fine. For that incident. I gotta say though, like, even though the guy probably only got like 3 feet away, that shit was pretty intense. Like, I still remember it. And the funny thing is if you guys were following me last year around Christmas, I was on vacation going up that same way. I was visiting my same grandma who still lives in the same exact house too. Exact house. And they closed down the road because someone had a meth lab. Turns out that meth lab was almost not 100% sure it was the same exact house, but it was within the same 3 houses of wherever that person was that wanted to take me and make me his prisoner. But yeah, that was actually a story I shared in my very first video. And I don't think too many people have heard it, and I also forgot to include that our dog came home safe and sound. I mean, it's nothing too scary. To me, it really was, because honestly, had I been taken, that really could have been the death of me. You never really know, especially when someone's trying to take a kid like that. So it scared the shit out of me at the time, and made me think twice about getting close to people at night. I just thought that'd be a fun little quick story to share with you all. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if not, the video was technically already over, so I don't care. Have a great weekend, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.